Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com. My guest tonight is no stranger to the show. In fact, this is his fourth visit with me. I always enjoy our conversations and I always learn something different about him. He's an award-winning country and western music legend, and this year he adds induction into the North American Country Music Association's International Hall of Fame to his accolades. It's my honor to welcome Rex Allen Jr. to My Kind of Country. Rex, how are you?
You know, I'm really good today. We had to postpone this interview for a week because I was sick last week, but I am amongst the living again.
Well, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. It's passed through our. Actually, I've avoided it so far. My wife had it, but it seems to last about 3 days, and it kind of works its way through.
Yeah, that's what it did for me. About 3 or 4 days, and I was back amongst the living. I'm all right.
So you're bracing for
everything in Michigan today.
Everything is snowy in Michigan, and I understand it's heading your way too, right?
They heading our way. Yeah, in Nashville it's supposed to snow tonight, and then they only have one snow plow in the whole city, so it's kind of like I talked to some friends of mine in Texas, out in East Texas, and they're supposed to get 6 inches down there, and they're really in trouble because they only have. I don't think they have a snow plow in the whole state. So they're in trouble.
Yeah, it'll shut them down for sure. It gets nasty.
Shut them down for a month. They'll be in big trouble.
And we take that all in stride here. We're used to it. That's the way it is, and we live in Northern Michigan.
I know. I'm sure looking forward to seeing you in March. You going to be down?
We are going to be there. We're going to broadcast the show live, and we get to see you get your Hall of Fame award and do some songs for us, along with some great talent. Jeannie Kendall of the Kendalls, Dick Dameron, Joyce Smith, Riley Madison, a fantastic songwriter, and Margie Singleton. It's going to be a fantastic show, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I am looking
for all of it.
Absolutely, and that's such a nice venue, the Country Tonight Theater in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And, folks, that's going to be Saturday, March the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can get your tickets at countrytonightpf.com and the North American Country Music Association's International's website. We also have their information on a website page on our page as well, or on our website, so you can get the information there as well. You're going to get to see some fabulous country music. And, Rex, it has been a busy 2017 for you. A lot of things.
Yeah, it's been busy and wonderful, and now I'm retired now, and my dad told me, he says, you never retire, just raise your price. So I raised my price, and fortunately nobody's taken advantage of it yet.
Well, it's worked for Garth Brooks, hasn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's worked for Garth. I'll go ahead and try that. But no, I've been a performer on the road for 50 years, and that's long enough. It's not that. Will I miss the performing? Of course you do. But on the other hand, I'm very busy doing other things. I'm still recording and still do albums. I've got last year I released 6 CDs.
Wow.
6.
Wow.
And I'm re-releasing all my old Warner Brothers stuff. I've got control of that, and then my new albums and that I've released over the last year. And I'm a little over halfway into a new CD that'll be out probably by June, I would think.
Well,
and then
great.
I've got the nicest thing that happened to me in the last year is not only the accolades that I received. There were some wonderful people that were very, very nice to me, and getting the awards and people telling you what on my Facebook site, which I'm still active on Facebook. I didn't close anything down. I still answer everything myself. I don't have anybody that does that for me. I do it. But the people have been so kind, and I don't think I realized that how many lives I touched. That's was so wonderfully awakening. I think that sometimes you get to the feeling that nobody really cares about what you've done for your life. But I found out that there were a lot of people that really appreciated the music, and that's what is great. Another thing that happened too is over this year, people gave me things. I ended up getting a catalog of music on my father that, to be quite honest with you, I didn't even know it existed.
Really?
And no, I had no idea. And I mean, I've got people sent me things that and gave me things that they had collected on my father over the years, and I've got honestly, I've got probably 200 unreleased recordings of my dad.
Is that right?
Yeah, and so one of my goals over the next couple of years is to try to get all of that out. And it's not that I'm going to sell buckets full of them, but what is important to me is to get not only my material, all of my stuff, but all of my father's stuff up, digitized and on the web, get it up to iTunes and places like that. So, once it's up there, it's there forever for people, which is what's important to me.
Absolutely.
Trying to do some kind of, well, what I'm doing is family legacy. That way there'll be a legacy of Allen music up there for all time. And when my grandson goes to Mars to colonize Mars, he'll be able to take all of the family music up with him. Well, the Allens have been entertaining the world now for over 80 years, and that's a pretty special thing when you really think about it.
Oh, it sure is.
And somebody pointed that out to me, and I had no idea. And actually, it started when they're doing it. We filmed a documentary on my career, and partly on Dad, mostly on me, and just on Western music and country music and the history of both of those things, which I've been so involved with all my life. And it was those folks that told me that, you realize you guys been entertaining us for 80 years? No, I had no idea.
Wow. That's
it's kind of fun and special, and of course the culmination of all of it to me is going to be the award in March. That's the North American Country Music Association Hall of Fame award is really important to me, and part of the main reason why is that it encompasses both North and South, Americas, the Canadian people as well as the United States, because not only have the Canadian people been so kind to me over the years, but they were real good to Dad. Dad worked all those major rodeos and that sort of thing, and I did too over the years. So it means a lot to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Great deal to me.
And it's well deserved. It's with the invention of the internet and everything, a lot of people that were around when all the Westerns were in the movie theaters and everything, they're not with us anymore, but there's a whole new generation that's discovering these great films and music. And so what you're doing, you mentioned the other recordings. When you get those out, you're reaching a whole new multitude of fans. And
right. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think that, what goes around comes around, and people rediscover stuff.
Absolutely.
I've got a YouTube channel, the Rex Allen Jr. YouTube channel, and I have probably 500 of the old films on DVD here at the house, and I've gotten somewhere between 80 and 100. I haven't counted them. But what I did is I took, like my dad's films as an example, I went in and pulled all of the music out of them and created music videos for all of it.
Oh, nice.
I've got Roy up there and some Autry, not many, but I've got, everybody up there. It's really cool.
That's great.
And so, and it's not old folks that are listening to it. I get emails from, people who are younger and who are just discovering all of that stuff. One of the things, it's like what I said in the documentary, I said, the Sons of the Pioneers, the reason why the Pioneers were important in music is because of the harmony pattern that they did. And it was unique. It was something different. It wasn't bluegrass. It wasn't country. It's Western harmony that Bob Nolan and Tim Spencer and those guys put together.
Yeah. And
then the Pioneers died out in the mid-'50s. And then 59, we had the Marty Robbins Gunfighter Ballad album that brought the sound of Western music back. But I tell people that that sort of harmony didn't end. There was another group that came along in the 60s called the Eagles that took, to me, the Sons of the Pioneers harmony and put electric guitars and basses and drums with them.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah.
And then the Eagles died out, and the first time, and we had Alabama come in, and Alabama to me used their harmony patterns were Western harmony patterns. They weren't bluegrass. They weren't country.
Yep.
They were Western harmony patterns.
You're absolutely.
And then
right.
Alabama died out, and the Eagles came back. So I think that the Pioneers and all of that kind of music that I've done all my life, and that's where my history is, and where I learned music was listening to that sort of thing. It never dies. It just keeps being recycled in one way or another.
You're absolutely right. I get music sent to me all the time, and I get a lot of great Western albums that are being put out. There was a group called the Hanson Family that's doing those harmonies, and they're all in their 20s, so like you said, this is all coming back around again. Oh yeah, it will. Nothing dies anymore. That's the wonderful thing about the internet and iTunes and all those other services. Amazon's got one, and the nice thing about it is that the music will never die. It will stay there forever. Absolutely. We're certainly not making any money on it anymore, but at least it's up there for people to listen to and enjoy. You bet. That's when it comes down to it. That's the most important thing, is preserving that legacy. Yeah. By all means, and we certainly support and play so much of that music on our shows, and we have fans all over the world that request it. And I know you do. That's the other thing that's new in my life, and I am a competitor of yours, by the way. You are? Well, I have no competitors. I work with everybody. So no, you have a competitor, and I am one of the owners in a company called Oasis-HD Productions LLC out of Texas, and we have two traditional country and Western radio stations, internet radio stations. Oh wow! And one of them is Oasis-HD.com that plays traditional country and Western music. As a matter of fact, Saturday is Western Music Day, and we play pretty much Western format. And then the other network is TruckersRadioUSA.com, and that plays more trucking-oriented music. And then right towards the end of the first quarter of this year, we're coming out with a classic rock and roll station too, traditional rock and roll. Good for you. That's fabulous. Well, yeah, I don't know about your listeners, but we have listeners all over the world. Yeah. About 800 million a night. We've got a big audience. Yeah, we do too, and it's amazing. People are tired of the regular radio stuff where you hear the same 40 songs over and over again, and then they keep interrupting all those great commercials with music. So yeah, that's exactly right. Well, we don't run many commercials either, but we have a library of over 1.5 million songs in country music, and in country and Western music alone, and if somebody wants to hear something, we got it. Yeah, absolutely. And we will play it. I don't care much. We don't play any of the new country, and don't intend to. We call ourselves a traditional radio station, and the reason why is because as you know, there are still artists out there that are recording traditional country and traditional Western music, and we play them, And we play the old stuff, and we play the new stuff that's being recorded. You bet. Because to me, country music is an art form, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still cutting Western songs and all those things like that, and I plan to not until I can't sing anymore. I'm still going to record. Good for you. The nice thing about the internet, and you know it because you're involved in it, is that you don't have anybody breathing down your neck telling you what you're supposed to play and what you're not supposed to play. And so we can play good music and good songs by good people. And that's what really matters. Absolutely. And it gives a real leg up to independent artists that they didn't ever have before. There's a platform there for them to be heard all over the world. And yes, there is. And I know that because you're an internet-based company, just like I am, that you know as well as I do, is we've got people all over the world that are listening to us. Yep. We've got France and Germany and
and Sweden and Finland and
Yeah.
all over Australia and New Zealand and places like that, Japan. And they're listening to us because they aren't listening to, the pop country stuff that's available on the internet. They aren't listening to it.
Absolutely.
Because to them, that's not what country music is.
Absolutely. Well, I we joke about being in competition. I don't really look at it that way. It's there's plenty of listeners out there, and I would tune in and listen to your show when when I just had automation going on mine or something like that, and I encourage my listeners to do the same thing.
Yeah, there's plenty of room for everybody.
Absolutely.
And you can find music that you love to hear.
You bet.
And
you bet.
music that you want to hear again. It's like our truckers radio station. I mean, we're playing Red Sovine,
You bet.
and I don't know anybody in the world that maybe you do has got Red Sovine's catalog.
Oh, you betcha. Teddy Bear, man. I play that one often. Phantom 309. You bet. Absolutely.
Phantom 309. I see. When I first started out in this business, when I first came to Nashville, the first real big break I got on the Dottie West show.
Oh, wow.
Package show with Dottie West was the headliner, Red Sovine, and me introducing Rex Allen Jr. And part of the reason I got on the darn show was because Red couldn't see to drive, and I had to drive him around. So, that was an experience in itself. But in those days, Dottie's guitar player was making more money than I was, and I was headliner. But it was a wonderful experience, and of course Dottie was a joy to work with, and Red, I'm so happy that I got to know him, too.
You bet. Well, Rex, I was talking to Jennifer Herron the other day, and she said, "Now, when you talk,
I've heard of her.
You've heard of her. What a wonderful lady she is." She says, when you talk to Rex, she says, you got to get him to tell you the Clark Gable story. So I'm asking
Clark
you.
Gable. Okay. Well, my brother Kurt, he grew up with Bunker Spreckles. Now, Bunker Spreckles was Adolph Spreckles' son. Now, that Spreckles, some of you folks out there remember Spreckles Sugar. Well, that was his dad. But now he and his wife Kay divorced, and then Kay married some guy named Clark Gable. And so Bunker and his sister were stepchildren for Clark Gable. So Kurt and Bunker went to school together. Well, Clark had 25 acres in Encino, California, and so Bunker invited my brother Kurt over to spend the weekend. And so Kurt went over there, and my dad on Sunday morning came in, got me up, and he said, "Hey, come on, we're going over to Clark's house." I said, "Clark who?" He said, "Clark Gable." I said, "Okay," because I knew who that was. So we got in the car and went over to Gable's and went through the gates and drove up to the pool area right by the house and got out of the car, and we saw Clark sitting up there in a chair, and there was a guy in a white coat digging at his arm. And Dad walked up to him and said, "Clark, this is my son Rex Allen Jr." And I met Mr. Gable and that sort of stuff. And Dad says, "What the heck happened to you, Clark?" And he said, "Your kid shot me. My brother Kurt shot him." Dad says, "What do you mean he shot you?" He says, "Well," he says, "I thought it'd be fun if the kids went camping out on the back part of the property." And he says, "So I got them all set up with a tent and that sort of stuff, and they were up there going to camp tonight." He says, "I thought it'd be funny if I went up there at night and rooted around like a bear to scare the kids." He says, "I didn't scare them much." He said, "Your kid shot me, but Kurt put 3 pellets in his arm."
Oh, my gosh.
And now the end of the story is that there was a lady that walked out of the front door of the house and walked by, and Clark says, "Come on up here. There's some people I want you to meet." And so the lady walked up. She was a beautiful, absolutely stunning blonde. And Clark said, "Marilyn, please meet my friends. This is Rex Allen Jr." And it was Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah. Cool, huh?
So your brother shot Clark Gable. Boy, that's a legacy.
My brother shot Clark Gable. Yes, he did. And I saw him pulling the pellets out.
Oh, my gosh. You can't make stuff up like this, folks.
No, you can't. You can't. No. No.
That's great. Well, RexAllenJr.com is the website. And, Rex, tell me a little about your latest Garage Songs CD. This is number 11, right?
Well, I have the Garage Songs 10 is called The Last Cowboy album I'm going to do. I've done 5 or 6 of them in my career, all Western music, and I decided I've done enough of it. When it comes to doing a whole album, I'm still going to record Western songs, just not 10 of them, on an album. And that album came out and has done extremely well worldwide. The single off the album the biggest single off the album was called Call of the Canyon, and we had 6 million requests for the song worldwide, and WMA, it was the single of the year for the Western Music Association this past year. And then I had another album, that's 10. 11 I have released. However, the first single out of that album will come out in February, late February. And it's, I recut Cup of Tea. I did it with Margot Smith, but I went in and recut it with Lisa Stewart, who was my co-star on Yesteryear on TNN. So I reconnected with Lisa, and there's a couple of songs that she did with me, and one of them is Cup of Tea. And that'll be the first single out of that album, which we've already shot the video and all those things like that. So
Fabulous.
It'll all be tied together. And also it'll be tied with the release of the documentary on me, which is sometime in the first part of the second quarter of next year. And I'm working on Garage Songs 12 now, and I got some really cool stuff, but it won't come out until probably midsummer. But I've got the new album, I've got 2 or 3 on Garage Songs 11, which is called Chico, Chico. And it's out. You can go to iTunes and get it and listen to it. But there'll be 2 or 3 singles out of it before I release 12. So there's a lot of product coming on me.
Man, I guess
videos too, and all those things like that.
You're busier now that you're retired.
I'm retired. Well, I'm retired.
Well, they say you get busier after you retire, so you certainly have proven that.
Yeah, but there are certain things I am doing that are on my bucket list. My Pamela and I are going to go to. Let's see, where are we going? We're going to Costa Rica. Not Costa Rica. Costa Rica. We're going to Costa Rica for 10 days, and then my bucket list thing is that the Allen family is all from Scotland and Ireland, and we've traced the family back there. And so it's always been on my bucket list to go to Scotland and Ireland. And so in August, we're going to Ireland.
Wow.
Ireland. So yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I've got a good friend that lives.
A lot of fun travel this year.
I've got a good friend that lives in.
Guitar.
I've got a good friend that lives in Scotland, so if you need a good tour guide, let me know. I'll hook you up with
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Well, good for you. Well, we're sure looking forward to seeing you at the NACMA show in March 17th.
Me too.
And Rex Allen Jr., I appreciate your time on My Kind of Country. Always a pleasure. We're going to play some music from you, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing you in March. We'll be broadcasting that show live on our station, too, folks. And don't forget to get your tickets.
That's wonderful. It's great to talk to you.
You too, Rex. Thank you so much.
Bye
God
now.
bless. Bye-bye.